The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Happiness Jungle with yours truly, your host, Lyn-Dee Eldridge, your Chief Happiness Officer. And I am so excited and delighted today to have Dr. Nancy Zare on with us. And as you can see, we're going to have some fun here. We are going to today talk about communication. A matter of fact, right, Nancy?
Yeah.
Would you like me to call you Dr. Nancy Zare, Dr. Zare? How would you like me to address you?
Try Nancy.
Just Nancy.
That's right.
I like that. Oh, my God. Increasing communication 300%. So if you're having any challenges with communicating with anybody, with anything that's going on in your life, right now, I want you to sit up because you're in for a treat. You ready?
I am.
Yeah, we are in for a treat. We're going to learn how to effectively communicate with one another. Right, Nancy?
Perfect.
Oh, I'm excited. Wow. I'm happily excited.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. So,
Lyn-Dee, the reason why I do this is because I was born a psychologist. Now, I know that's hard to believe, you know, but as a little kid that I was a psychologist. But I've been interested in human behavior and communicating effectively since about the age of 3.
Wow. So at the age of 3, you started the skill of understanding and really resonating towards listening towards it?
So here's the scoop. I got born into a family where there was tremendous marital strife. And one of my earliest memories at age 3 was listening to the doors slamming and the glasses breaking and the loud voices of the adults upstairs. And I was the youngest child, the only girl, and as you can appreciate, I was frightened. But even though I was frightened, my mind and my heart said, what can I do to help? And so I, yes, became a student of human behavior at that early age.
Wow.
And then fast forward to the age of 10, I saw an episode of Father Knows Best. You know, remember the wise old gentleman who could solve all the problems? Well, he solved the problem of people quarreling. And he did it by asking people one at a time to say what the problem was and what can we do to fix it. Wouldn't let the other people interrupt. And I said, I wonder if that would work for my family. Believe it or not, I gave it a try. And I walked away with an amazing insight. Here were my parents, both of them native-born English-speaking adults. And they could not understand a simple request that each person had put out as to what they could do to be loved and cherished. It required me, the little girl, to tell them, hey, Daddy, this is what Mommy wants. And Mommy, this is what Daddy wants.
Wow.
I know. And that began my career as a psychologist.
My gosh. Yeah, and back then, Nancy, I think you can agree with me, it wasn't even abuse back then. It was a normal way that every family, so we thought, was behind closed doors. And here you are, you were so tuned in to developing communication better, to have a more peaceful environment.
Exactly. It wasn't until I went to college and took that first course in Introductory to Psychology, you know, it required course. I mean, I didn't even know psychology was a study, an area, because I was going to be, you know, a doctor or a lawyer or a nurse or something like that. And lo and behold, I got bitten by the bug of psychology, no kidding. Wow. And I went on to earn both my undergraduate, master's, and a doctorate.
My goodness. And here you are today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm excited to share some of the things I've learned because I still, in my heart, what do I care about? I want people to get along and enjoy each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, when I met you, I knew that you had a big heart, and I knew that there was so much more to you, so I'm excited.
Oh, great.
I'm
me
excited,
too.
and I want to learn from you today. Just like our audience wants to learn from you today, we are here as your student.
Well, great. I created something called the a-likability system. A-like-ability. So it's a word I made up. It's not in the dictionary, so I get to define it, right?
Okay.
So a likability means a skill that raises the feeling, the thought that we're alike. It's a skill. So a skill can be learned, and I can teach it, and I'm a very good teacher.
Yeah, and you're very contagious.
Ah.
Yeah, you're fun. I want to listen to you all the time.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, you have a very pleasant presence. And to me, that's very important because people won't listen to people if they feel like they're being spoken at or told what to do. And here we are, as we're going to make suggestions, and we're going to speak with each other. We're going to speak with our audience.
Yes.
So, yeah, let's have some fun.
You're invited too.
Always, always invited. So
Good. So let me explain why I have all these, glasses here. Because part of the likability system is to look through the lens of the other person. Now, you've heard of the golden rule. Am I right?
Yes.
Do unto others as...
We'd like you to do unto you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Think about that for a moment. Do unto others as I want done for myself.
Yes.
This puts me in the center of the measuring stick. The platinum rule, which is where I base my system, do unto others as they want done for themselves. So if I look through their lens, if I speak their language, now I can do what they want done for themselves. And by doing this, it's a very simple little technique, but it shifts the perspective and it makes it much easier to communicate.
I love that.
Yeah. So we look through the lens. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And the reason I have hats here is because sometimes hats are more visible than the glasses,
Oh, hats. Is this fun or what?
Yeah, exactly. I knew the chief jungle officer, happiness officer, would love this.
I love it. I do. This is great.
Play toys.
Yeah, but it's a great visual, and I'm a very visual person, so this is perfect. Okay.
Try these.
All right.
See, now these are actually color therapy lenses, if you're not familiar with them. I had to get them from overseas, and they actually use these lenses for purposes of shifting the brain waves. So notice that golden warm tones that you're looking at.
I do.
Yeah, well, which of course you naturally have a heart of gold.
Oh, yeah, but you have like serenity right now.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, okay. I feel that.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas those red lenses speed you up.
Right.
Did you notice? It
Okay,
got you like,
fired up.
Yeah, fired up, exactly.
No pun intended. Red, fired up.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Oh,
See
yes,
what I mean?
I do.
It's stimulating your brain in a different way.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about the blue ones?
The blue, again, will be very soothing. And by the way, we do have a fourth color, green, but we're not using that.
Well, we can't show it here because we have a green screen. So they would go invisible on us. But there is a green pair. But wow, this is very soothing.
Yeah.
And it's like evening.
Right.
It's just more zen.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
I help my clients.
What do the green ones do?
Well, again, the green ones are a different level of stimulation, but not
Okay.
like red.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
Help with the brain waves.
That was a very interesting experiment.
Yeah.
I've never done that experiment
By
before.
the way, for those who are curious, water in different colored bottles also will pick up the vibrations, because remember that the glass will serve as a prism.
Sure.
And so it actually takes on different energy based upon the color of the container.
Wow. So if they wanted to try this at home with the water, food coloring?
No, I'm not talking about food coloring. I'm not talking about coloring the water. I'm talking about the bottle the water is in.
Oh.
A dark green bottle, the brown amber bottle, a blue bottle versus a clear bottle. The water actually picks up different waves of energy and will have a different impact.
Wow.
Now, not everyone is as sensitive to this, but I tell you, it's so.
It's so.
Yeah.
Well, you're also a master about water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true, but we're not going there today.
So I believe everything that you say when it
Thank you.
comes. No, I do. I respect that so much. Keep sharing because this is very powerful.
Yeah.
This is very interesting to me.
So let me share with you then that according to the father of modern medicine, which was Hippocrates, a couple centuries ago, he said that there were 4 temperaments, 4 different styles of people, and he actually prescribed medically for them. Later research has shown that, yes, there seem to be these 4 types, and people have given them lots of names, animals, colors, sea creatures, birds, fish, I mean,
Right.
you name it. There are 200 of these systems naming these 4 styles. So I call them LENS, L-E-N-S, which is a 4-letter acronym. For the learning style, L is for the learning style. That's the smart, geeky person. E is for energizing. That's your
Hello.
red, the fire. They're enthused and excited. The N in LENS stands for networking. They've got hearts of gold and they want to connect and just, pull you in. And the S is stabilizing, security, system, structure. They want things, lined up.
Right. Wow. Let me ask you something.
Sure.
Your clients, you deal with families, you deal with individuals, corporations, because you're very effective.
Thank you.
Your reputation has a lot of, if for lack of better words, like A star, 1 class, you have to have Dr. Nancy Zare. Who do you mostly want to gravitate towards? Or, who do you help more?
I primarily work with individuals, or I work with a group of individuals. What I do currently, Lyn-Dee, is I tend to focus on people in sales, people who are either in direct sales or sales representatives. But when you think about it, all communication is sales, because sales is really influencing someone to take an action. Well, think about the fact that your spouse, you want your spouse to do an errand, relevant to the family. Well, you are influencing your spouse. You're selling them on that idea. Or you may be selling your child on doing homework or something like that.
Right.
So I specifically apply this system and these skills to helping people increase and up-level their communication in sales.
I love that because I've been in sales all of my life. And a lot of people that are watching us, y'all don't think that you're good salespeople. And I got to tell you, and I think you're going to agree, just like you just expressed, we are always selling. It's what we're passionate about, that it doesn't feel like we're selling. Turning that around and learning how to be a better communicator, you can not only have what you want, but you'll also be able to offer others what they want. And it's usually that equal solution to have more or better.
And notice what you just said, offering what they want, because that's that platinum rule. You see, you don't want this.
Right.
So why should I try to, quote, sell you or convince you or manipulate you to have it?
Right.
But whereas, maybe this is more, what you had in mind. Yeah. So if I talk to you, if I put myself in your space and listen and try to understand what you want, right, then I'm not selling. I'm actually consulting and helping you solve the problems that you have.
Yeah, and you said a very important word, listen. Be a phenomenal listener. And I love that because there's a lot of people that don't understand that that's an equation to communication.
And the reason I pointed to 1 mouth and 2 ears is there's an expression that you have 1 mouth and 2 ears and you need to use them in proportion.
Yeah. And just pause. Do people have to react immediately if they're not comfortable in a situation?
Interesting question. Do they have to react? Of course not. They don't have to do anything. Do they react? Depends on which style they are. You see, our energetic style is the most reactive of all 4 styles. They're very quick. They have a short fuse. and they tend to be very reactive. They tend to explode. And it's like one of those summer storms where it was sudden, it came on sudden, you got deluged with rain, and then suddenly it clears up and the rainbow's there. And they don't understand why everybody else is going, oh.
Right.
But they are very reactive. Least reactive, probably our stabilizing style. You see, they are rule followers. And the rule followers are you don't raise your voice, you don't talk too fast, you know, and all of these things kind of keeps them in a moderate place where they're not reacting.
Right.
Because that would be breaking the rules of good conversation.
Right. Now, we have some people that are watching and saying, I don't want to talk because I'm always feels like I'm being overspoken with. I'm shy, I'm bashful. How can we help them come out of their shell to make them realize that they have so much to offer, but they want to be on mute because they feel like they don't have self-worth?
Well, of course, that's a big one, right? Because self-worth requires, you know, there's no quick fix.
That's right.
When you feel like your self-worth is low. And I know because I've actually had to overcome my own sense of, you know, low self-worth. I told you the story about my parents and et cetera. Well, fast forward a few years, when I was 5 years old, there's a story in my mind of when I wanted my mother's attention. And my mom, that particular summer, was on the telephone. I mean, for hours she was on the phone talking to family members and friends. And I remember pulling on her skirts and begging her for attention. And, you know, she would say, go away, go outside. You know, she was trying to ignore me. And I took that message from that moment that somehow there was something wrong with me, I was less than, etc. So I had low self-esteem. I'm now going to share with you how I've reframed that story, because maybe it will help some of the people out here. I hope it does. I hope it helps you.
Me too.
What I have since gone on to learn, now my mom is deceased, so I really can't ask her what happened that summer. However, I do know that my maternal grandmother, her mother, was diagnosed with cancer. And she subsequently passed away within perhaps 9 to 12 months. So my mother's phone calls, my guess is that that was her connection to stay in touch with her mother, her family, and to somehow control the events taking place. And that it wasn't a rejection of her daughter. It wasn't a rejection of me.
Right.
I took it personally. My mother was simply trying to stay connected with her mom and her family and get support in a time when she was feeling obviously very vulnerable.
Right. And she felt that you did not need her right then and there, and you were tugging on her, and she felt that her worth needed to be shifted, not really considering or understanding that the tugging.
And she never intended that.
Right.
Lyn-Dee, I know she didn't. I know she loved me. And if she knew that I walked away from that scene with the feeling of being less than, she would be absolutely beside herself and upset. But guess what? I carried that message throughout my childhood, throughout my teens, throughout my early adulthood. And I found lots of things in my environment that substantiated and proved and showed me that, I'm not so good. Ignoring, right? Because that's what we do. We have selective vision. I ignored all the evidence that said, Nancy, you're a talented, brilliant, sparkling gem of a child or adult, you know?
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's true of you out there. I think it's true, you who are watching, that you too are talented, brilliant, and an exceptional child, adult. The little girl, little boy is still living inside you. It is. And you just need to claim and now start nurturing that individual.
Right. And I'm so happy that you brought that up, because in today's world, everybody is on such a on a fast track. We're losing sight of what the importance is of the relationship building within the family. There's so much going on with our children that are not with us all day long. And by the time they get to be with us, we're so busy, whether it's making dinner or putting away stuff or laundry or whatever, that we are not taking time to connect with the children that are our tomorrow. Give a suggestion for how the families, because I know that there are families out there, I know that you want better relationships within your own home. And most people realize that in their own home, if they could have that, then when they're away from one another, it's just going to be more effective.
Well, as Chief Officer of Happiness,
Yeah.
I mean, it really is that pause. You said listen, pause, stop. You know, the joy is in the moment. It's not tomorrow. It's not something I'm going to do, and yet we get wrapped up in the, oh, if I do, then tomorrow's going to be fantastic. Guess what? Today, right now, this moment, it's fantastic.
Right now. Yes.
Claim it.
Claim it, and because we're in such a cell phone era, I am going to suggest that dinner time is dinner time. They came out, I saw this on a commercial, with a box. And everybody puts their cell phones in the box. That's it. There is no cell phone. As a matter of fact, one of the commercials, everybody's on their cell phone at the dinner table. The mother comes, she puts the last plate on the table. Nobody's paying attention. She goes, oh, hold on one second. She picks up her phone and she turns off the internet. And they're like, oh my God, we just lost the internet, she said, and it'll be back after dinner. Everybody put down their phones and they engaged with one another. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Of course, you and I come from an era where we do have the skills and we have talked to each other. I am truly wondering how today's generation, who are busy with their thumbs, are really learning the skills of looking in each other's eyes as we're doing and experiencing this moment.
That's right. Unbelievably powerful.
Right.
If you have to make a schedule to turn off your cell phones, then that's what you have to do. But you have to realize that the person that's in front of you is extremely important, or else it would not be in front of you.
Amen.
Everybody has a reason and a cause in our lives. I teach at different educational institutes, whether it's schools, colleges, universities, social emotional learning. And it is amazing to me how many of us have to learn how not to use a cell phone versus we had to learn how to use a cell phone. They have to learn the opposite.
I know how irony, right?
Yeah.
How things have changed.
Yeah. And then they don't think they're selling each other, but they are. They're saying something. Let's go here. Let's go there. Hey, Nancy, you want to go with me? Completely different. Let's talk about communication and texting.
Well, that's interesting because this is the person who likes to text the most, our energizing friend. And the reason for that is because they're on high speed and they want to multitask. And texting allows them to be doing multiple things at once, or so they think. Right? I've got this text going with you and with 3 other people, and then at the same time I have conversation happening, and maybe there's, I'm eating or drinking or something. And so they fool themselves into thinking that they can do multiple things at once. But I think you're aware of research that shows that when we multitask, we actually are poorer. And
100%.
It takes even more time to do each task than if we segmented and did one at a time.
Absolutely true. The other problem, and it is a problem, I like to say the word challenge, but this is a core problem with communication, is that you could send me a text smiling, and I could read the text as if you were angry, because words can't speak.
So let me just share something really important, whether it's done in a text or it's done this way or however it's done, email, whatever. When someone says a sentence and they put your name in it, Lyn-Dee, it's all about me. I used your name, but it's about me. I am projecting, and the message I am sharing is about Nancy, even though I just used your name, Lyn-Dee.
Right. Yeah, but every time you use my name, I connect.
You thought it was about you.
Right.
And we have a tendency to take it personally, which is the reason why, again, my parents had this trouble with communication.
Right.
Because my mother was taking it one way, my dad, meant it another way, and they needed a child to translate and say, no, here's how you both want to be loved, here's
Right.
what to do.
Wow. Did your parents ever sit down and listen to you?
Well, they did when I tried that, and
Yeah.
then subsequently they did other times as well.
Did their relationship grow?
It did, but it grew apart eventually. I
Yeah.
did go off to college, and after I left for college, some years after that, they
Right.
separated.
The therapist left the house.
I guess so.
Yeah. Living with people is an everyday educational process.
Yes, and it requires work.
A lot of
Four-letter
work.
word,
A lot
work.
of work. A lot of work.
It does. There is no living happily ever after without doing some work.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's no fun without doing the work
And
either.
that is so true. It's so true. And learning how to reconnect with others. That's one of my specialties, reconnecting families to reunite. Every family member has that great worth. And it brings me great joy to be able to get together with a family or a couple or a parent and the child or co-parenting. And the first question I ask is, are you really looking to have a healthier, happier relationship with one another? And if the answer is yes, we've got a green light. If the answer by any of the parties is, well, I don't know because they keep on doing this, that wasn't the question. So it goes back to listening. So I ask them to please listen to the question again. And I reiterate the question. Do you want to have a healthier, happier relationship with the person? Yes or no? And if it's anything but a yes, I cannot help them. Because if there's not all volunteers, then there's a chief, and it just doesn't work out well.
Right.
It's just a crazy world spin. So I know for a fact there are a lot of you that are missing people in your life. But I also want you to know that you're being missed.
Well said.
Right? You're being missed. So it's all a matter of just gravitating towards proper communication, increasing your communication 300%. I love that title.
Thank you.
You're so powerful.
And you are too. Thanks to our audience for joining us.
Yeah. No, we're over. We're done. Say bye, Nancy.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.